Deep in the forest, there was a little ant who was on his way to work. He was carrying a crumb that was bigger than him. And as he was going up a blade of grass, another ant came along. "Hey, little ant, where are you going with that big crumb?" "I'm on my way to the ant hill," said the little ant. "I've got to take this crumb to the queen. She's not feeling well, and we need to feed her." "Oh, for goodness sakes, you can't possibly do it," said the other ant. "That crumb is too heavy for you. You'll never get it back to the ant hill with all your might. Just leave it right here and go home." The little ant shook his head. "No, I have to take it back to the queen. It doesn't matter how heavy it is or how tired I am. I won't give up." The other ant just laughed and walked away. So the little ant started his journey back to the ant hill. It was very hard to move with such a big load, but the little ant didn't care. He kept on moving. As he was walking, he met some beetles who were rolling a ball made out of leaves. "Hey, little ant, why don't you take a break? It's a beautiful day outside and you look exhausted," said one of the beetles. "No, I have to take this back to the queen. It doesn't matter how tired I am or how much the sun is shining. I won't stop," said the little ant. The beetles just kept on rolling their ball and eventually disappeared from sight. The little ant continued his journey until he saw a caterpillar munching on some leaves. "Hey, little ant, why don't you take a rest?" "No, I have to take this back to the queen. It doesn't matter how tired I am or how comfy those leaves look. I won't give up," said the little ant. The caterpillar just shook his head and went back to eating his leaves. The little ant kept on walking, and soon the anthill came into view. He was so happy to see it because it meant that he almost made it. But then he noticed that it was very dark outside. The sun had set a long time ago, and now the moon and stars were shining in the night sky. The little ant didn't care. He had almost made it, and he wasn't about to stop now. So he kept on walking until he saw the entrance to the anthill. He had finally made it. The little ant was so happy and proud of himself. He had taken the biggest challenge that an ant could ever take, and he had won. All the other ants were very impressed by the little ant. They cheered and celebrated him. The queen was so happy to see him. She gave him a big hug and said, "You're the bravest ant I know. Thank you for saving me." The little ant blushed and said, "It was no problem, really. I just wanted to help." After that, the little ant became a hero of the ant hill. All the other ants looked up to him, and he was very happy. From that day on, whenever the little ant was faced with a challenge, he never gave up. He knew that if he just tried his best, he could do anything. Do you know an inspiring story about an ant? Share it with us in the comments below. Now, before we continue, I want to say a big thank you to our supporters whose names you can see on the screen right now. Remember, your support helps us create more videos like this one. So, thank you. Also, please don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our videos. You can also become one of our supporters by clicking the link in the description. And now let's get back to the video. Once upon a time, deep inside a cozy anthill, there lived a very lazy ant named Anthony. Unlike his fellow ants who were always bustling about, carrying crumbs and looking after the colony, Anthony spent his days lounging around and doing nothing. He would often say, "Why work hard when you can work smart?" Or, "What's the rush? We've got plenty of time." His motto in life was to take it easy and let others do the work. One day, the colony's food stores were running low and the other ants were becoming quite worried. However, Anthony didn't seem to care at all. "Oh, come on, everyone," he said with a shrug. "It's not the end of the world. We'll find some food eventually." But as the days passed, the situation became more and more serious. The ants were starting to panic, and they held an emergency meeting to figure out what to do. "We must do something," said one of the ants. "If we don't find food soon, we'll all starve." "I say we send out a search party," suggested another ant. "We'll split into teams and cover as much ground as possible." And so it was decided. Teams of ants were sent out into the big wide world to find food for the colony. Among them was an ant named Alice, who was known for her determination and hard work. She wasn't lazy like Anthony, and she always did her best for the colony. As Alice and her team were searching for food, they came across a field full of flowers. "Look," said one of the ants, "there's honey in those flowers. If we can reach it, we'll have enough food to last the whole colony through the winter." But there was a problem. The flowers were protected by a grumpy bee who didn't want anyone taking his honey. The ants were scared, but Alice wasn't. "I'm not afraid," she said, standing tall. "We need that honey, and we're not going to let a little bee stop us." And with that, Alice came up with a plan. She asked the other ants to distract the bee while she snuck over and took some honey for the colony. The plan was risky, but it just might work.